Hey folks, hope you're all doing well and welcome back to the channel. So I wanted to do a ranking of the Tubes catalog. We just did the last week we did a ranking of our top 10 favorite songs. And since I got the Tubes on the mind, I figured what the hell, let's just do the ranking of the records as well. And the albums I'm including are just a studio record, so starting with their debut and with the last one being Genius of America. So in going through the catalog and preparing for the top 10 favorite songs and this video, I gotta say that there's really no records that are like complete duds. All of the records have some shining moments, some more than others. um so there's quality in all of their albums as far as I'm concerned. Now, I should mention that I'm not a lifelong fan of the Tubes. Basically coming at them, with no biases. There's no album that I'm really connected to. So I'm sure my ranking might not jive with most of yours, but I'm just going strictly on listening to these albums now, I don't know, 3 or 4 times each, and just my impressions and my rankings of the records, starting with number 8 and going to number 1. So the first album that I'm going to mention, which again is not a terrible record, is Love Bomb. So when we did the ranking show, Love Bomb actually contained my favorite of the Tubes songs, my top favorite Tube song, which is Piece by Piece, which is a great song. There's some other highlights on there. Stella's a pretty cool tune. But what I find about this record is that um, it sort of meanders a little bit. It's in that it's like they're trying to sort of reclaim the glory of what they had with maybe Completion Backward Principle. I just find that a lot of the songs are sort of kind of middle of the road. They're really trying to be more of an AOR band here, like more extreme even than maybe some of their previous albums. And yeah, I mean, there are highlights again, but overall, it's not a record that I would probably really go back to outside of, like I say, Piece by Piece is, I think, a brilliant, brilliant song. So that's my number 8. So for my number 7, this is the second record they put out. Again, a song off of this made into my top 10 favorite songs. And I'm talking about, there it is. I'm talking about Young and Rich. Um, I really like Tube's World Tour. I think that's really cool. There's again a lot of sort of improvisation, a lot of variation going on with this record. Um, Overall, again, there's a lot of bright spots on here. Don't Touch Me There, that sort of 50s cover ish thing that they did, and they had a big, that was part of their performance. They had a 50s kind of thing. Anyway, but yeah, I mean that's a cool track. Slip My Discos is all right, but it's again, it's not a terrible record. None of these albums are terrible, but overall in the whole canon, this for me ranks at number 7. So number 7 is Young and Rich. So my number 6 is this record that came out in '77. This is the Now record. This one's got some pretty cool moments on here. Uh, My head is my only house unless it rains. That is a cover, Captain Beefheart. I think that's a fantastic song. It's very moody, it's very ominous, but it's very cool. I'm Just a Mess, I think, is another great track on here. There's highlights on here. Smoke, the opening track is pretty cool. Again, there's always these great moments on this, and this what makes this kind of difficult in the ranking is like there are all of these moments on all these records that kind of bring them up, but something had to fall into number 6, and it is the Now record. Okay, so my number 5 record, now we're getting into the '80s. This was the follow-up to their most popular album. I'm talking about Outside Inside. This also had the big hit on it, She's a Beauty, which didn't even make my top 10 favorite songs. It's a great song. People love it. Out of the Business, though, did make my top 10 list. Out of the Business, I think, is a fantastic song. Monkey Time, that's pretty, a nice duet with Martha, the Motels. Anyway, I think that's her singing on it. That's a pretty cool duet. Wild Women of Wongo is another great song. But then it kind of loses a bit. There's a song called Drums where they're just drums basically. It's just yeah, they kind of they lose the script there a little bit, so the consistency isn't there. But again, there's some really good highlights on this record, and but there you go. So there's my number five, um, outside inside. All right, so for my number four, this was the Todd Rundgren pairing, the first one, I believe. And this album is Remote Control. It's got an absolutely amazing song that we talked about, TV is King. I think that's a fantastic song. That is so Todd Rundgren. There's some cool tracks. Prime Time is great on this. No Way Out. Only the Strong Survive. There's some good tracks on this. I like the combination. You can really hear the Todd Rundgren influence in there. I think it's a great pairing with the band. And I think this is a really, really great album. So yeah, so that's my number four, Remote Control. All right, my number three. Now I'm sure I'm gonna get a lot of stick for this, but I like this record. I hate to tell you, I like this record. It's the last one they did. Talking about Genius of America. I think this is a great album. One of the reasons why I really like this record is it's very stripped down. It's sort of that whole, I guess it's the time period as well, right? Because came out in '96, so that all that '80s sort of all those production tropes are kind of removed. It's more like stripped down instrumentally. Sonically, it's just not as cluttered, not as busy, no big reverbs and so on. And it's got some really, really cool tracks on it. Um, like, I mean, there's Arms of the Enemy, I think is great. How Can You Live with Yourself, I think is a fantastic song. After All You Said, just going off, I'm terrible with names. I got to read these off. Oh, and Around the World, very Hendrixy. That made my top 10. I just love the stripped down sound of this. I think the songwriting on this is really, really good. I know this was sort of at this point they were sort of past their, I don't want to say their prime, but their peak in popularity. But if this is an album that you haven't spent any time with, I'd go back to it because to me this is like a return to the Tubes writing some really really good songs. Not without so much outside influence, and more of a stripped down version of the band. I think it's a great record that's probably overlooked by most because it came out in '96. All right, so that leaves my top two. Now, this record is, I think, absolutely phenomenal. Being a fan of Max Webster, I love this sort of style of sense of humor, quirkiness, fusion, not fusion, maybe prog. It's just, again, hard to describe, but that debut record is absolutely phenomenal. I mean, there's so many good tracks on this. Halos is amazing. Of course, White Punks on Dope, you know, that Anthem is on there, Mondo Bondage, What Do You Want from Life? I mean, there's just so many good songs on it. They're so inventive. I mean, this came out a little before the first Max Webster record, but it's in that vein, and I love that vein where the music is a little bit complicated. Maybe the arrangements are a little bit more involved, but a band that can take you to those places and still hold your interest and hook you with some really good music and basically make it easily digestible, and take you on a trip. I got nothing but respect for that. And this record is just unbelievably good. I love the Tubes debut record. It's fantastic. Which leaves my number one. I mean, I hate to be the populist, but you can't deny this record. It's just got too many good songs on it. It's their most popular record, Completion, Backward Principle. I mean, you just can't deny it. There's just too many good songs on it, and it's not just the hits, the deep tracks. Talk to you later. Talked about on the show, and I mean that is like pop, power pop perfection. Sushi Girl is actually that. Not the biggest fan of that song, but then you've got Amnesia, which is fantastic. Attack of the 50-Foot Woman is awesome. Um, I uh, oh, the don't want to wait anymore. That's a fantastic song as well for sort of a ballady tune. I absolutely love Power Tools. I think it's such a cool song. I love the dynamics between the verse and the heavy chorus. I mean, it's pop stuff, it's 80s stuff, it's stuff that I usually typically I'm not a big fan of, but it's done on such a high level, and it's just like it's like fine wine. It's so well crafted, these songs, and the performance of the songs. David Foster's in there, Steve Lukather's in there. I mean, you've got craftsmen making at the time like the best 80s power pop out there. There's a reason why this album was all over the radio. So that's my number one. So if you're not a fan of the Tubes, there's a lot of stuff to mine here. So some really, really good stuff to listen to here. You can go by my recommendations or just any random Tubes record. Again, there's something for everybody on every album. There's quite a variety of different styles that they sort of dip their toes into. So it's very, very entertaining musically. It's not like every song sounds the same. There's none of that with this band. So but yeah, let me know what your rankings are. Put them in the comments. And thanks for watching, and we'll catch you next time. Cheers.